All right, hi everyone. I'm currently walking on Labadee private island, where we are with the Celebrity Equinox. Super exciting because we never get to go here, but we actually had a one-off cruise where we have a charter, and the charter wanted to go to Labadee private island. So I'm just gonna show you just one fantastic view. That right there is the ship. There's locals on the pier dancing. It's just magnificent. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I have half a day off. I've got a few hours. I've been doing some amazing stuff. And I'm right here on a private island making a video. I travel for work. I work on a cruise ship, as you might know by now, but I barely ever get to have time off. And here I am. I'm really enjoying it, making the most out of my time. So I'm right here for you with another video. Alrighty, so I'm right here with 25 questions. Me as a crew member, I get asked constantly and I have to answer constantly, and these are my answer to these 25 questions. Some crew members might get different questions, but me, these are the 25 questions I always get. So let's get right started. Question number one, everybody gets it. Where are you from? I'm from the Netherlands, and I actually live right in the center, nearby the city Utrecht. And I've been there living for pretty much my entire life, and whenever I go back home, that's where I go as well. Question number two is, how often do you get to go home? I get to go home after a contract, which is about 6 to 8 months at a time, and I go home for about 2 to 3 months, and then I'll be right back on board the ships as well. All right, number three, when you're done working and you get to go on your time off, where do you sleep? Do they fly you to a hotel, or do you actually sleep on board? Yes, this question I get more than you would imagine, and we sleep on board. I sleep on board, every other crew member sleeps on board. Nobody gets flown back to land for a hotel. No, we all sleep on board. Question number four is, how many people do you share your room with? I personally share my room with only one other person. Most of the rooms are dual occupancy, meaning that you have two people living in one room, generally also sharing the bathroom. Some ships also have Jack and Jill, if you will. So you have Jack and Jill, if you will, Jack and Jill, if you will. So that means that you have a room, a bathroom, and a room, and then you just share the bathroom, but you've got your own sleeping space. I used to have this on a Norwegian Epic before, but now because I'm together with my partner, we actually get to share a room together. So question number five is, do you miss home? And yes, I absolutely miss home. Every single day I think about my home, about my family, about my friends, my own bedroom. Weird enough. Anyways, but not just that, I don't just miss home, but I also miss a lot from home. I miss a lot that my friends and my family are going through. Fun things like birthdays and celebrations, the holidays, but I also miss the sad things such as funerals and people that maybe leave home and go traveling themselves as well. Those things I tend to miss myself too, which is very unfortunate, but it is, at the end of the day, with all of the pros and the cons, it's worth it for me to still be so far away from home for such a long time. Question number six is, why did you choose to start working on a cruise ship? And for me, I kind of just rolled into it. I was actually in beauty school and I was going to do an internship in Spain, but ended up not being old enough, so I was not allowed to go on that internship. And through my school, they actually told me about that you could work on cruise ships as well. So I kind of rolled into it. All of a sudden I was on a ship and I just never left. I mean, I left for vacations, but I always came back. I really enjoyed the lifestyle. I enjoyed the way of saving money. I don't have any living expenses. So that was for me a very big thing why I wanted to stay working on cruise ships. But initially it was just, okay, let's try it out. If I like it, I do. If I don't, I'll be right back home within a week. So that was how I rolled into it, and giving myself that freedom helped me a lot to get through my contract, I think, as well. And I still give myself that freedom. Question number seven is, what other cruise lines have you been working for? I've worked on 3 different cruise lines. I started on Norwegian Cruise Line, then I went over to Royal Caribbean, and now currently I'm working on Celebrity Cruise Lines. Number 8, what's your favorite ship? I love the ship that we're on right now, which is the Celebrity Equinox, but I think my favorite ship is one of the Oasis class ships, which is Oasis Allure and Harmony. I've worked on myself from the Royal Caribbean Cruises, and that's just because I'm so amazed by how much there is on board. Question number 9 is, do you ever get to leave the ship when you're docked? Yes, I do. My job on board the ship is port shopping guides. So there's only 2 of us on board, which is me and Levon. And we do it with the 2 of us, and we actually also work in the ports. So basically what we do is we tell people where to go shopping in the port, and then we shop with the people in port. So yes, we do get to go off, but we generally don't have time off when we're in port, because we also have our duties once we are docked in port. Unless we're in a port like this, then we will actually be able to enjoy a few hours outside. Question number 10 is, what is your favorite island or port where you have docked? To be very honest, the Caribbean, it doesn't make my heart beat faster. If I do have to make a choice, it would either be St. Martin, because it's, and then the Dutch part of the island, because obviously I'm Dutch, but also I really liked Bermuda, because that is one of the few islands where there's also history. Got the beauty of the Caribbean, but you also have a lot of history within that island, and generally the ships will stay about 2 to 3 days, so you actually really get to enjoy the port itself as well, and not just be able to do one thing, but you actually do like several things in several days, so you really get to know an island. Question 11, and this is what I always get from guests: what do you eat? Do you eat our leftovers? Sometimes we'll have a leftover here and there, but generally we have our own food, which is served in a crew mess, and sometimes if there's like a potato salad or a pasta salad or something like that left over, they may put it in the crew mess. But overall, we have also chefs that cook food for us. It's just completely different food. We have crew members in between 60 to 7 different nationalities, so there needs to be food for everybody, right? Most of our crew members are either from the Philippines, we have got a lot of Indians, we have a lot of from Indonesia as well, so they tend to have at least a section that will serve the majority of the people. Then they have generally some pasta, some burgers and some pizzas, and then they have like another section where they have some vegetables, some chicken, which is generally not very nice, and then they have on this ship we actually almost every day have a roasted turkey as well, which is fantastic. So no, we do not only eat your leftovers. Number 12 is, how much money do you make? And from this is generally a question that I get from American guests. How much money do I make? I'm not going to tell anybody. I don't think where I'm from it's not appropriate to share how much money you make. Let's just say you can save a lot of money because you don't spend any on board. You don't have living expenses, you don't have food expenses, you don't have your electricals, you don't have to spend money on your living. So in that way you can save a lot of money no matter what job you do on board. And it also really differs on what job are you doing on board, how much money are you going to make, your ranking also. But I personally do not feel comfortable with sharing that answer anyways. I feel in some cultures it's easier or more normal to share it, but where I'm from, we do not really share that information. Number 13, do you ever get seasick? Yes, I do. I get seasick. If it's very rocky, I tend to get seasick sometimes, but not all the time. Luckily, otherwise, gosh. I can actually remember when I was in London, I was about to go on my first ship with my parents, with my sister. We went to this restaurant that was on the water, like a boat restaurant. And we were eating there, and as we were, or just having some drinks or something like that, and as we were sitting in that restaurant, I got seasick. It was just on a canal, it was just this boat, and it was just moving a little bit, and I got seasick from it. So at that point, I said to my mom, like, wow, I'm here on this boat, I'm seasick right now, how about if I'm gonna work on these massive cruise ships? But actually turns out the larger the ship, the less seasick you will get. Number 13, do you have a doctor? Yes. We have a doctor on board. We've got a full medical facility, the same medical facility guests get to use. So if we ever have an emergency or anything like that, we will be able to go down to that medical facility ourselves. In case they can't help us there, they'll make sure we'll be treated on land. Number 15, where do you eat? Where do I eat? I either eat in crew mess, I can eat in any restaurant, I can eat in the Ocean View Cafe. Of course, anything in guest areas, there are rules attached to it. We're not allowed to eat at any time, but we are allowed to eat within certain regulations. So with that, we eat anywhere we like. Number 16, when you're off duty, are you allowed in guest areas? Most certainly I am. It might depend on your ranking if you're allowed to be in guest areas or not when you're off duty, but in my case I am allowed. But to be very fair and honest, I don't think a lot of crew members would be in guest areas in their off time, because then you're basically working. As soon as you're wearing that name badge and you're out in guest area, you're working. You have to behave yourself, and I feel that a lot of crew members prefer to actually just stay in the crew areas where they can just hang out with their friends and just be their true selves. Number 17, have you ever had an emergency? I've not had a life-threatening emergency. We didn't have abandoned ships. We didn't have people falling overboard. We didn't have those things. We've had medical emergencies that medical assistance was needed. We have had, and one of those I've actually had myself as well, that I was there at the moment that something happened. So you need to make sure to accommodate the guests, to make sure medical facility, but you're trained on that. And I was also on the Oasis of the Seas when we had the outbreak of the norovirus. People have to throw up. People have, yes, it's not fun. And that outbreak of that norovirus was, I think, one of the worst. I don't want to call it an emergency, but it is something that was affecting the cruise tremendously, because we actually had to go back to mainland sooner, and the cruise was finished because we had to clean the whole ship and everything needed to be sanitized. And that also follows into question number 18. What is the worst emergency? What is the worst emergency that you have had on a ship? And I think that norovirus, it's not a real emergency as in everybody's got to leave the ship, but it was bad enough to make an impression. Number 19, are you allowed a relationship with co-workers? Yes, we are. It's not recommended between boss and the person who the boss is the boss of. Officially, it's not allowed, but relationship in between co-workers, I mean, it's inevitable. Me. Question number 20 is, where do you go when our cruise is over? We do the same thing over again. So you go off the ship, we get a new shipment of guests on board, and we do the whole thing over again. Number 21. Question 21 is, do you have days off? Generally, most crew members have half days off. So you do work 7 days a week, but you tend to have probably about three half days off, depending also on your area that you work in. It might be that you have one full day, maybe a 1 half day, but overall kind of guidelines is 3 half days off, and it's kind of general. Question number 22. How did you get to the ship? Did they pick you up at home, at your home port? No, we fly to the ship. We fly to wherever the ship leaves from. In my case, I had to fly to Fort Lauderdale. Did I fly to Fort Lauderdale? I flew to Miami and then drove over to Fort Lauderdale, Port Everglades. That's where we joined the ship. Question number 23. Do you get to choose what ship you get to work on next? No, I don't. I get to give a preference, but I don't get to say, hey, I want to work on this ship. No, you can give up your preferences and they'll try to accommodate you as much as possible. But hey, if 5 people are requesting the same ship and they only have 1 spot. Question number 24. I see you work so hard. I see you everywhere around the ship. When do you have your time off? Now for Levon and I, we don't have a lot of time off. As I said, we're only with the 2 of us. There's only 2 port shopping guides on board, and we do have a whole ship to accommodate. We don't have a ton of time off, but we are more flexible with choosing ourselves when we have our time off. And we choose ourselves to have some time off in the morning. We wake up 5:30, we go to the gym, we have our breakfast. Our morning is a little bit more relaxed. And then, so we choose not to sleep in, and then we start our day off right with a good workout, and then from there we start our day, and we work until it's necessary. If we are finished by 7 p.m., that's great. We are going to go out for a dinner somewhere, but if we're not finished yet and there's still stuff to do, there's still stuff to do. So in that case, for us, it's a little bit more flexible. And then the last question, question number 25, is how do you not gain weight on board a ship? Guests always see that they gain weight on board the ship, but they're on vacation. They drink, they have a lot of food, and they have a lot of good food. For us, it's very different. We have to accommodate, like, you're there for months at a time, so you're not gonna enjoy yourself like you're only there for 1 week. So for us, you don't eat as much food, just that we're not on vacation. I think that's one way, and the other way is you gotta watch what you eat very much, because they put a lot of, like, you don't get to prepare your food yourself. So you kind of have to watch yourself with, okay, how much do I eat? And anyways, I am rambling off of my track here again. Gosh. So these are one of the most common questions that I get from the cruise ship guests towards me about my life on cruise ships. Oh my goodness, I had to kick a spider off of my phone. Oh my God, I feel like such a superhero right now. Anyways, if you have any other questions, please just let us know, and I might make another video as well about this. And other than that, stay tuned and keep on watching some other videos as well. Also, if you have enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up, leave some comments down below, subscribe, and hit that notification bell as well, because my regular posting is not the greatest yet. It's in my New Year's resolutions, if you will. Anyways, hit that notification bell so you are notified when I upload a new video. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you all for watching, and also make sure to enjoy the next clips from Labadee Private Island from Royal Caribbean. That's my home. That's my crib.